Hello, everyone. Welcome to Two Peas in the Pod.
Cass.
I'm your host, Rich.
I'm your host, DK.
And today's topic is Hope Dealer versus Dope Dealer. And we pretty much picked this topic just to expound on the different effects of both individuals inside the community, right? And which one is more detrimental. Is it the Hope Dealer or is it the Dope Dealer? Obviously, this would be something that everyone can discuss. Everyone's going to have different opinions on what it is, but we wanted to make this the topic today just to dive into it a little bit and explore all the factors around it. So, DK, like in regards to, the Hope Dealer, which is that particular preacher or pastor or whatever that's actually out there specifically manipulating the people, like, getting them for their money and pretty much preaching what they don't practice, right? Mm-hmm. Like preachers that don't actually believe in the gospel, but they see the monetary gains from it, and that's what they utilize, to the people, right? Mm-hmm. Or to get funds from the people. And then you have, the dope dealers, and we're not just talking about dope specifically, we're talking about drug dealers, right? Mm-hmm. So whether
anybody
it's dope,
making a profit
right.
Yeah, it don't matter. Weed, it can be whatever, you know what I'm saying? And which one is more detrimental to the community that is impoverished? You got somebody who is saying, come to me. If you don't come to me, you might burn for all eternity, and the life that you live now will be nothing compared to the life you live after this. Versus somebody that's saying, if you need a relief in the form of, drug use from this life you're living, in order to continue on living a life that you're going to be obligated to live, you're going to get that from me.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So Hope Dealer versus Dope Dealer is a very special topic to me, because if you don't take the drug you're selling, that's kind of messed up. I mean, it's smart. Of course that's smart. That's the way you're supposed to, theoretically you're supposed to do it.
Right.
But how could you know what you're doing to this person? How could you know, how this is destroying that person, how it's affecting their finances, how it's affecting their family relationships, if you're not involved in that drug? And then how can somebody blame you for selling a drug that you're stuck on yourself, versus the man that's sitting back making all the riches, making all the money, driving all the fast cars, staying in a big house, because he has a bunch of people underneath him that are sold out to that drug. Mm-hmm. There was a penalty for that. You know what I'm saying? There's no penalty for the pastor who says, well, why sell them dope? I can sell them hope. You know what I'm saying? And be free, because there's no penalty in the United States of America for a falsified prophet.
Right.
So which one is more detrimental? In my opinion, I'm going to always have to say the Hope Dealer, because, dude, all you have to do is act clean cut. You feel what I'm saying? There's no way for a dope dealer to present himself as clean cut. He has a stigma about him from the time that he steps in that lane.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit, technically speaking, the dope dealer would be jealous of the Hope Dealer, because shit, I can make all that money and not go to jail. I'm out here risking my life
with no product.
Yeah.
So imagine being a dope dealer and saying, man, I could take this to the other side, yo, and shit, I ain't gotta go to jail. Then you see a lot of them go to jail and get out, and they do what? They preach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Open up churches.
Right.
So a lot of reformed dope dealers become what? Preachers.
Hope dealers.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that like I say, we always say nothing's an absolute. Nothing on this show is absolute.
Right.
Nobody is going to sit up there and say that everybody has a church, a ministry that's successful, that has money, that believes in God, is a falsified prophet.
Right.
No.
Right.
But we going to say, whoa. There's a lot of old steening. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of creflowing. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who your level of monetary success don't make sense if it all comes through the name of God. It doesn't make sense. And you have a herd of people who are sold out to you because they believe their salvation, which means their afterlife, which we don't know what that is as human beings.
Right.
We have no idea that putting money in a collection plate is going to influence God, who clearly says in the Bible that render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and render unto me what is mine. Something like that Jesus said. Something along that line, which means I don't understand how them pastors were able to take that and correlate that to people feeling like their financial participation in church is going to lead to their faithfulness being respected by God.
Right. Or going to heaven, having eternal life, and not going to hell, right?
It's based on 10% of your paycheck, which should be going to investments, but we're going to get to that later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That would be our next episode when we talk about financial literacy.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the biggest issues I have is like, you know, I grew up in a Christian background. So my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, everybody, like church. Jesus Christ, that's all we knew. 7 days a week. I'm not talking about just on Sunday. I'm talking about choir rehearsal, prayer meetings, usher board meetings. Like, my grandmother's had me there every time she was in church. I was in church. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like I look at how my grandmom struggled, but she always made sure she paid 10% tithes and she paid offering. Every time an offering was given, I don't care if it was building maintenance offering.
Somebody
I don't care if
struggling.
it was offering for Sister Parker who ain't me or rent, like whatever. Like, she made sure to put money in
Sister
all
Parker.
offerings.
Yeah.
She made sure to pay her 10% tithes and sometimes more, but never had nothing for us.
And
Never had nothing in the house. And I'm just looking like, what if my grandmother would have took that 10% of the money she gave the tithes and put that into stock or into a bank account, or if she just saved it in her house? How much money would she have accumulated
For when we had
over
hard times.
40 years? Yeah. Like, we struggled, like, coming up. We ain't have nothing,
and
but
did
she
the
always
struggle-
had money to give to the church. Like, that, it boggled my mind.
And let me ask you a question: did the struggle ever end? When the pastor said, "Put this money in the church," and the struggles, because one thing I learned as a child, I grew up Christian as well. Not to say I don't believe in God, but I had to renounce Christianity because of the lack of productivity it was bringing to my people and my community.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, okay, y'all are teaching me this process, but this process has no end product.
Right.
Because you're saying put the money in the collection plate, and God is gonna come down from heaven where everything's all
And make
right,
it tenfold.
and make it tenfold. But in this Bible, which I got a fact right here that says a lot of these preachers only preaching 3% of the word. And I think that's how they get a lot of bullshit off. Because how you gonna tell me that God has clearly said, and not like they like to say, in the New Testament, not in the Old Testament, God clearly says, I have nothing to do with money. That's between you and Caesar. But this pastor can come tell me to put 10% of this in my plate, and God put it in my plate, but God is gonna multiply it for you. And
Right.
He gonna do this for you and you and you and you.
That's
and
a
it's
fact.
20,000 of y'all in here. Yeah. Bro, I
Pulling
am
out-
so
throwing
jealous.
in their pockets till rabbit ears
I
come
mean,
out.
dude, and looking at their kids like we gonna be all right, and looking at their wife like we gonna be all right, and looking at their house and their dogs and we gonna be all right. I mean, walking around just less than saying, you know what, we ain't gonna go to hell though.
Right.
See,
And
at the
it's-
end of the day, it's like put this money, and that money don't make sense. Why? Because you are buying eternal life
or you think you buying eternal life.
versus this dope dealer. What are you buying? Momentary relief. Which one is more detrimental to the society, and which
Right.
one is more detrimental to
Right.
to the communities, man?
And it's the hope dealer, because at the end of the day, what makes it more detrimental to me is because, like, heaven and hell is something that you have to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows it exists, right? And me personally, I personally don't think there's a thing that exists at all. Like, grew up believing that, but I
Well,
don't believe that.
For a moment,
So-
let's talk about hell. Just
All
to
right.
explore why you don't believe in that.
So the reason why I don't believe in hell is because I just don't believe if there's a God, right, that God will allow millions of people to burn eternally just because they didn't know who Jesus Christ is. So even as a young kid in school, I used to, because I'm in high school, I see Muslim kids, I see Asian kids, I see whatever. So
And they're telling
grew
you
up-
they going to hell.
Right. I grew up in a Christian family. So obviously I knew Jesus Christ. These other kids grew up in different families, they culture. So they only know Allah.
Allah.
This one only know Buddha. This one only know Krishna, whatever. That's all they family know. That's all they family taught them. At the end of the day, our religion only comes from what our family teaches us. So if that's all they know, you trying to tell me that if these kids were to die, they gonna burn in hell because they didn't know Jesus, but they prayed to Buddha or Krishna? Nah, that shit don't make sense to me. I don't think there's a God that's that evil that it will burn millions of people just because they never got to know who you
And
were.
I don't think at some point when they get to milking you for them dollars, that's when you can look at and say they making God out to be evil. Because look at this. Why would I'm a family man, right? I have a wife, I have kids. Am I entitled to say, well, I made in the image of God, so when I buy my house, let me build a hell room, and I'm gonna bring this dog that I make sure that, you know, it's gonna bite, it's gonna shit on the floor, this dog is gonna act a fucking fool, it's gonna act a dog fool, and if this dog does anything in this house that disrupt them, I'm gonna put them in the hell room. So not only am I gonna create the hell room, I'm gonna create the devil that puts you through hell.
tempts you.
And if you don't stay making good grades in school, my wife doesn't cook or clean, even though this crazy ass dog is in the house. And my kids don't perform in school, even though they can get bit by this rabbit ass dog that I won't get rid of, that I brought in their life, that I created long before they ever existed.
Right.
Then I'm gonna put them in the hell room.
Right.
They would call it. They would like, boy, you crazy.
Yeah,
So
that's
when I
worse
stopped
than
believing in hell, that's worse child to be. When I stopped believing in hell, I was like, okay, now let me go to church saying that I'm sorry, just through my own logical thinking, I don't believe in hell. I'm sorry because if I was to treat my wife like that, and they understand why men get through that religion and they start feeling entitled. Look what it's saying about God.
Yeah.
Now I have a gun in my home, right? Several of them. Now, according to the Bible, I'm supposed to be able to leave this gun around and tell my son, if you touch this gun, you'll never be able to stay in my house again. I'm gonna put you out. You got to go work. You'll never be able to come in here again if you touch this gun. But I'm gonna leave this gun right here. Because, this gun is power. This gun can save a life. It can take a life. And, this gun needs to be in the house, But I'm not going to protect you from it. I'm going to leave you where you can get to it. But if you get to it, that's your ass. You're out the garden. You're out the house.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
And it's sick and tired of people trying to push that on people saying, hey, look, come pay for this. Pay for shit that don't make sense. Right. I'm going to take my dollars and pay for shit that don't make sense.
Right.
Because when I try to treat my family like that, they want to divorce me. They want to put me on alimony. And they'll say, what's wrong with men? Why do men feel like they are so entitled to just rule a woman? Well, open up your Bible. What does it say?
It's all in the Bible.
She can't even have a voice. Well, baby girl, that national don't sound right to you. You can't. I gotta speak for you, but God gave you a tongue.
So here's the thing that goes even further than that. The percentage of women in church are like 80%.
It's 85% of women are in church.
85% of women in church, so which shows me that men logically wake up from the bullshit eventually and like, man, I ain't fucking with that.
Well,
whereas women stay in it, but it's like everything in the Bible is like contrary to the benefits of you. Like it's a patriarchy system in the Bible. It's about the man being the head, the man ruling, the man being everything, but yet and still women dominate being in church.
And then you got to understand why women can't get men in church. It's because you're avoiding the obligation that this Bible is setting upon you in your youth, and the times where you feel like the world has a lot to give you. You're going to say, well, I don't know God. And then you're going to say, well, okay, well, now that I'm not getting a benefit from the world anymore, and that Bible can't hold me and obligate me to not having my advantages in life, well, let me go and get involved now. But then you bring a man into that church, and the man says, well, okay, well, according to this religion, I can have this and that, and I can do this and that, and that's polygamy in the Old Testament, and this, that, and that. I love this book. Let's do it. No. Don't read that part.
Right.
Read this part.
Right. It's the
part that say you gotta love me like God loved the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it say right here, shut the fuck up when I'm talking. But no, I'm not gonna shut the fuck up when you talk. Baby girl, it don't say shut the fuck up, but it say I didn't Google it. Now we got Google for the Bible now. We can look up some quick shit with the Bible now.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It says right here, you ain't got no voice. You're really just here for the kids. I like this shit. Nah, none of that shit.
Right.
Yeah, that's why we're not going into the church, because it's a
contradiction.
It doesn't even make logical sense to you, baby girl.
Right.
That's why you won't let me run your life. That's why you're not gonna sit up there and only be sexually obligated to one man your whole life.
Right.
That's why you're not gonna let a man rule over your life and be your voice in a world where you have your own
Well,
tongue.
they won't let a certain man, because here's the thing: those 85% of women are letting the man run their life, and that man is so-called Jesus. That's who's running their
the
life.
hope dealer, the one that's saying,
exactly.
yeah, I don't want to blame Jesus. I don't want to blame
absolutely.
Jesus, Allah, none of the other religions, Islam, none of that. I want to blame the person that's misrepresenting them and saying you're doing for me, and when you take care of me, and when I live a life, God appreciates that. So give me the money. And I'm trying to explain to these women, how can you let him pimp you like that? They come home from that, and that can't let your man
And
tell
give
you
me the attitude. You love Pastor.
you love red.
Pastor went through 4 wives. He had 4 first wives, and I mean, 4 of them in that first ladies.
3 of them still in the church.
You know, we done heard that he was sleeping with one of the others. But y'all love Pastor. Pastor can't do no wrong in your eyes. But your man do something, one thing wrong, and that's it. I can't deal with this. It's over.
And to get off subject, the same with politics. They treat pastors like they do politics. How many women have suffered politically in this country, but yet will still get out and go vote? If it says go 45 miles per hour, they're going 44 miles per hour. They would go get themselves educated and go into debt, risking the chance of ever being able to pay off that debt behind a political system that has never been in favor for women. Never. If you ask a lot of people, the only difference a black man had between a white woman and slavery was the fact that she didn't get whooped every day in front of everybody. She got whooped behind closed doors.
Right.
She inevitably, bro, this country was not built to support a woman. And no, they can try to fake the funk all they want to.
Right.
But this country, that's why you have so many women out crying, and why do we have so many in the church looking for spirituality when they have a legislative and a judicial and executive branch? So what is the hope dealer able to sell to them that the government doesn't have to give them? The government can force the obligation. And these women aren't on drugs. Why? How do we know these women aren't on drugs? Even in the black community, it says only 3.6% of women have a chance of even being incarcerated in their lifetime versus a 28.5% of black men will be incarcerated in their lifetime versus 16% Latino and 4.4% white men.
You heard, so the key word I heard with that is, you said for women it was like 3.5 have a chance.
A chance. So
But
that's
for
why
black men it was 28.5%.
Indefinitely.
will go to jail. It's like totally different. So it's
So-
like y'all not even like faced with the same adversity that we're faced with.
because that's why we buy dope, because hope don't get us high. I think women get an emotional high off hope.
Yeah.
And that's why it's able to be peddled to them in the way that it's be able to be peddled to them, even though they come out in reality and they can't see it. They say, well, have faith, and don't believe in what you see. Then why did God give me eyes?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I feel that's contradiction too, for you to tell me don't believe in what I see, but yet and still, in order for me to be a Christian or whatever, I have to be a believer.
And to
I have
look for what
believe
God
in
can
Jesus
do.
Christ. And I have to believe in shit that I don't see. So you telling me that what I see with my eyes, don't believe it. But I'm gonna tell you a bunch of things that you can't prove, and you need to believe that.
In order to see something, that God gonna come through and show you in this world that it was all real. So, but this whole time until that the process, you ain't gonna be able to see the process. But God will show you the end result. Think
And the
about
end
what they're
result,
saying.
right.
Just blindly invest. Just blindly come to church. Just blindly participate. And at the end of this, God will come show you in the physical what you need to see. But you don't need to see the process.
Right.
And ain't that how they run in the church?
Yeah.
I know a million crackheads. They know how to cook crack. They know the process. I know a lot of people who will tell you that's a fake pill and that's a real pill.
Or this crack was weak. Or this.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
but people don't even know if what they're being told is real because they feel like it's a spiritual obligation. And let's talk about how detrimental that is into the community financially.
Right.
The average pastor makes $100,000 to $140K a year. That's just what the average pastor makes. The average mega church averages $6.5 million a year in revenue. Meanwhile, the average church only costs $3 million to build, and this if it's a mega church. So
Right.
think about a $3 million building,
Right.
and that building bringing in $6.5 million a
A
year.
year.
So you can build 2 churches when you open up 1. Where's all the money going? So we got to talk about the black dollars and the other community of dollars being in hope, not being in dope, but not also being in the community. And we're going to talk about the fact that the dope dealer, and I don't know why Google said this, only makes an average of $2,500 a year selling narcotics. Now, I understand you got Frank Lucas, but you also got Ray Ray. Ray Ray don't make no money. Ray Ray making enough money to get high, get by, and they're calculating that in too. And
Yeah.
when you average in the zero with something, you kill it. I remember in the school when the teacher said, "I'm gonna give you a 0 for that," you got scared because you already know that goose egg was gonna kill your whole
drop
average.
your whole average.
So we got to add up all the goose egg dealers that still average a prison sentence when they're convicted of drug trafficking 5 years in prison. Meanwhile,
That's on the low end. That's if the judge being lenient.
that's in the judge nice. I mean, nice, like
Right.
fabulous, nice.
like had a beautiful day.
Like, yeah,
got
wife-
laid before your court hearing.
I mean, wife
Like, we
went.
talking-
I mean, come on, wife
Yeah.
and mistress went off for the judge. You got 5 years of dope deal in this
Yeah.
country. You know what I'm saying? But then you look at the fact that when I Googled, what is the penalty for being a falsified prophet in America? There is no legal penalty for selling people hope.
No, none whatsoever. And you can make millions and billions of dollars off of it. You can have private jets. You can have 6-7 Benzes. You can have $5 million mansions.
With no
you can
re-up.
have all of that.
You buy a
with-
church one time. You
Yeah.
buy a trap house one
Right,
time.
right.
No re-up.
You don't got to re-up. No yeah.
Hold on,
no-
pastors and prostitutes, no re-up. It's all right there in the house. You got the house right there. And I wonder why they love when prostitutes come to church. They love that. They say, "Oh no, we love when yeah, I would know y'all love when the slutty women go in there. Y'all got the money. Y'all can get the money from them. They think they can come to you, and yeah, you understand. Y'all teaching these women they ain't got to be exclusive no more, even though they gonna be part of God. That's what God is saying. So there's so many contradictions to that pastor getting that money in that plate. Man, you're not doing that but selling hope, dude. You're
Yeah.
not making these people really be obligated to God anymore.
No.
They have too much financial strain on them, and you're asking them for their money. they're not going to put the money into the plate if you're telling them that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing under God. What's the point of them coming in here?
Right.
So how far is that gone versus how is dope dealing gone? I mean, what is the government involved in a dope deal? I mean,
So that goes back to what you were saying, like when you was giving the example of God and putting the rabid dog in the house, and or the gun here, don't touch the gun, but it's here, this, that, third.
I should
And
lock
it's
that gun up.
Right, and it's
Yeah.
the same thing with like when it comes down to drug dealing. It's like it's not like niggas just jump up out the house and like I'm going to sell drugs. Like obviously the drugs was put in the community. Yeah, you have the choice to go sell it, but when you're struggling, when your parent or you might not have a father in the household, your moms can't provide for you, you're not eating, you're not doing this, it's not enough jobs for everybody in the hood. It's not enough jobs. It's just not.
oh, they gonna get it.
So
So the economy's going bad. Next week, y'all here.
So then when the government dropped these guns and these drugs in the community and people are suffering and struggling, what you think they're gonna do?
They're gonna survive.
Right? So it's two people that's not gonna pick up the drugs. It's either you're scared of the consequences behind picking up the drugs
Right.
and selling them.
You're not moral,
right,
you're scared.
Right? You're scared.
Yeah.
And then you have the select few that's morally sound because maybe how they were raised or whatever the case may be, to where they just feel like that is against.
Or the ones that made it, the ones that they're intellectually inclined. Because I was one of those people for a long time. I didn't have to.
You didn't have to.
participate.
All right. So
you know what I'm saying? I made good grades. I could play sports. I mean, there's the people who I'm gonna say God bless them to where they have attributes, whether they be physical or mental.
So
you know
the
what I'm
reason, so the reason why I brought the moral part is because you can have people that's actually, like you said, like in your position, good grades, playing sports and all that, but like is good grades and playing sports providing food on the table?
Well, it
Is
won't
it-
as a
you-
child, but
this is
you
what I'm
can
saying.
help.
So for some people, it's like I don't want to wait till I'm 24, 25 out of school
Stop
to
seeing my
stop
mama cry.
struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I need to go get it too now. Like I know a kid in my neighborhood that had D1 scholarship offers from like 40 different D1 colleges for wide receiver in football. And he literally declined every last one of them and stayed back to sell drugs to help his moms. Because his moms were struggling. So he turned down like D1 offers. He
I
had offers from
understand.
and he turned that down to sell drugs to help take care of his mom. So now some would say, oh, that's a bad decision. But had we not been in poverty, would he have made that decision? Would he have had to make that decision?
Well, this is what the community is saying now. He don't have to make that decision. He can go to church. He can buy some hope, and he can go out here and he can just keep trying every day.
So go to church and get broker? and
Well,
still
nah,
can't
he
provide
can
for
go
my
to
moms?
church and he could be indoctrinated that there's someplace worse than this. It's hell. Okay, you think this is bad,
And that's
try
why- and that's
weeping
why
and
Hope
gnashing of
Dealer is
teeth.
worse.
And that's why Hope
Worse.
Try
I'm sorry
weeping
about
and
that.
young man should not see. You should take him to church, and then he will believe it's a place worse than this. And there's weeping and gnashing of teeth, and he'll burn for all eternity. And there's demons and gargoyles and shit down there. And then they got the big scary devil, and Jesus gonna be down there not talking to him, but he can see Jesus, and Jesus can see him. Man, they are just
Yeah.
goddamn tales from the crypt.
It's a bunch of fairy tale shit. I feel like this. Like I feel like if you can believe all that, then we might as well believe Three Little Pigs.
And if,
We
and-
might as
and-
well believe all the nursery
tell your
little
kids
fairy
Santa
tale
Claus
stories we
real.
were told. Yeah, Santa Claus, Easter,
Easter
egg,
Bunny.
fairy, tooth fairy.
Hey,
like
I don't give a fuck if they lose that tooth at 19. Somebody knocked it out. You go put that goddamn
yeah.
$10 underneath that pillow.
That's
'cause
a
you told
fact.
them that hell exists. That's how
That's a
I
fact.
look at it, man. Why teach me that there's a consequence to my rebellion of what's not enabling me to survive?
Yeah, I never even understood that, even with the Bible, with the Garden of Eden part, right? Where like you got them in this garden, they're naked, supposedly, right? You got this fruit, this tree that bears fruit, and you tell them, hey, now mind you, these are, and this is how deep I'm about to spin it, right? These are kids, because mind you, God just made Adam and Eve.
No matter how
So they
grown
never
they are.
went through. He made them as adults, but this is their first time
Mentally and spiritually.
Yeah,
The
mentally and
idea of them is
spiritually, and it's
children.
natural. So they basically children.
That's why I
so
said children.
now you go
Yeah.
in your house and you tell your kids, you put a bunch of fruits here, and you tell your kids, listen, don't eat from this fruit bowl.
And then leave them hungry. They're
How
curious.
many of them gonna eat from that fruit? You already made them curious the time you said, don't eat from this fruit bowl.
Well, no, you left them hungry. See, I was gonna say curious
too.
because these people are in this paradise, but they're children. They don't understand where they're at. They don't understand what's going on. They have no answers, and you done told them the answers over there, but don't eat that.
But don't eat it,
You
right.
don't know good shit, no bad shit. You know what I'm saying? So if I tell them leave my kids in the house hungry, say I'm gonna leave some fruit over here. Now that's the bad fruit. The good fruit all gone. You know what I'm saying? Y'all done ate that up. Y'all been around here for a little bit. Y'all ate that. I'll be back soon. Don't eat the bad fruit. Fruit don't look that bad. I'm hungry.
Right.
I wanna know where I'm at. I'm curious. You done gave me a mind like you. You done gave me a spirit like you. I can interpret. I done named everything. I done did all this, but the one thing on earth I can't touch. Why would you put it on earth? Why not leave it in heaven?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing I said about the gun. If I have a gun safe, then guess what? The gun is safe.
Right.
My child is safe. There's no point in me leaving a gun out to say my child really obeys me. My
Right.
child won't touch that
Right.
gun.
Like I feel like, I just feel like it's too much. It's too much testing. It's too much. It's too much of things that's unexplained.
Yeah.
And there's no valid reasoning behind it. Like, so I definitely, as far as this topic is concerned, feel like the hope dealer is more detrimental to the overall community than the dope dealer, because again, the hope dealer is killing you spiritually.
Well,
Right.
in what sense you mean killing you?
So it's killing you in a sense spiritually, because if you have to live your whole life on eggshells, supposedly, right? Because you're in fear of what can happen to you in the afterlife, right? Or you're the type of person that, because it's in the Bible, you believe that, if you don't have money or you don't have the riches, it wasn't meant for you. You're not one that think that, I don't have it because I'm not going hard to get it.
Don't covet success.
I don't have, I don't have it just because it wasn't meant for me. Like Jesus went through pain and long suffering. So if I suffer all my years here, it's only right because I'm sharing the same.
And I'll get
attributes as
and listen. It's not that you should never want that. You'll get that in the afterlife.
in afterlife. And it's like, why I can't have mine here?
You'll walk
like
on
the same
streets of-
people that you telling me are evil, that's sinners, that's of the devil, all this stuff. Like, they're living their best life right now.
Look like God.
Why
put
they
them
can
them,
experience
And then
it.
you tell these people God put them in that place. You don't understand God's purpose. Don't worry about the process.
And-
You'll get some of the end product, whether that's in heaven, whether you get a blessed day on earth, and then they'll stand one person up out of church and say, "Look how Pastor and blessed Sister Cheryl. Sister Cheryl, get them tell your testimony."
Yeah,
Sister
but
Cheryl
this is
say
a
some-
50,000. This is a 50,000 people congregation, and you're only gonna give me one testimony.
And they gonna take it though. So Sister Cheryl said, "I was broke, I was down and out, and I put $3,000 in a collection plate last week in one time, and I just trusted God because that was everything that I had. And I called for a new job the week before, and I was praying to God. I said, God, I'm gonna give you $3,000 on faith. And guess what? They called me today and said I got the job. And then Sister Cheryl started dancing like, well, you applied for the job, Sister Cheryl. You qualified for the job.
Right.
And look at God, look at God, look at God.
Right.
I'm like, bro, this can't be
Yeah,
real, bro.
yeah.
I want to do this, so I give me a nice suit, boy. I have me,
Yeah.
boy, I'm talking about having a little clergy, a little something going on there. I can go sell hope, but see,
If I
would rather
didn't have integrity,
I would sell
I
hope.
would, bro.
Well, so would you have more integrity to say I'd rather trap and sell dope to people and let their free will be?
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, I'm not selling drugs to anyone that doesn't want it. And
Ooh.
I'm gonna be responsible I'm gonna get the repercussions and the consequences of my actions if I get caught.
Exactly.
Whereas if I go into this hope dealing thing, I'm gonna make a whole bunch of money, but my spirit won't sit right knowing that
Why?
I'm fucking lying and misleading these
Why?
people.
Are you worried about the afterlife?
No.
No, but what I'm saying, that's just
Yeah.
you being a
No,
moral
right,
person.
that's being a moral person.
So
right?
if you're gonna do right, you should do right because you're here, not
Right.
because where you're gonna be if you go there.
Right, and
It's
that's
what-
and that's what I'm saying. So the hope dealer actually gets away clean all the way around, because you don't got to deal with the consequences of the police. You don't got to deal with none of that. No justice.
Oh,
system.
everybody, police nothing
and,
fast.
and in your mind, I ain't got to deal with shit in the afterlife either.
because you know the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
You
So
know the
it's like,
truth.
why not me? This what they believe. Let me play into their belief, and it's gonna make me.
And
It's gonna
then
make
you
me
one
rich.
man in a big old building with as 85% female.
and they all over you.
You they leader.
Yeah. They listen to you more than they listen to their husband.
Ooh.
So you got polygamy going on in church.
Mentally and spiritually, even
Yeah.
if it isn't sexually.
Yeah. Because all of y'all women are like looking up to this man, praising this man, idolizing this man, but then you would go home and talk to your husband reckless. You would treat your husband like Like you ain't even marry him.
Well, let's talk about our women putting 10% of their money into their black men in their life. Will we have to sell drugs? As much money as I bless. Let's say I got a black woman that make $200,000 a year, and she say, "Well, just because you're a black man, I'm gonna put 20% of this into you not being a bum, you not being a crackhead, you not being a bum ass dad, until you being worth something. But as long as you take this money and become something, go to college, go open up a barbershop, I mean whatever. But I, as a black woman, I'm gonna take 10% of my money." And I'm going to invest it into my black man, not into some false profit or not into some false sense of having to buy an afterlife. That, come on now, brother.
But they're not gonna do it. You know why? Because I'm not supporting no man. I'm not taking care of no man. I'm not doing that. But you're doing it. You're doing it in the church. That's why he's able to pull up in the Benz. That's why he's able to keep his or the range. Yeah. That's why he's able to keep his mortgage. That's why he's able to have a nice Rolex watch. That's why he's able to keep
fly
everything.
in and fly
so
first class.
You're actually funding the man. You are.
Yeah.
But if you gave that same analogy you just gave to most, oh no, the man supposed to take care of me. I'm not taking care of no man. I'm not giving him 10% of my money. Like,
so through religious belief, you think it's okay for you to take care of this man as a pastor, but
right.
through religious belief, you don't think it's okay for you to
take care of your man.
Your man,
right?
I just don't understand that. And your man's supposed to progress. You know what I'm saying? And then not only gonna put your money in collection plate, your husband gotta give 10% of what he made too. So now in the household, you're talking about 20%.
20%.
It might be 10% of the household, but you're taking 10% of this person and 10% from this person. Now you got 20% of what that household really has, bro. Right. So now let's start with everybody off with a B grade. Financially, let's start the man and the woman off with a B grade. Let's knock bills. Let's knock inflation. Let's knock the kids saying, I want a new toy or I want to participate in the sporting program. And then you ask how much the sporting program costs. Oh, it costs $300 for your child to play football. Why? Just because your child want to play football, y'all motherfucker gonna pay it. Supply and demand, that's all. Yeah. That's what they really come out and tell you. Y'all paying shit. We charge y'all $250 last year. Y'all was out here like motherfuckers. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
Technically, we could charge $100 and still get profit, but
we're gonna charge y'all $300 and go ahead and buy some Range Rover like passing them. You know what I'm saying? So when you have people who look at a mentality in life like that, it's like, well, damn, okay, well, best I'm gonna be is what, 50% of my money, 40% of my money? After I pay all my bills, after I buy groceries, after I take care of my kids. I'm starting off at a B if I'm in church life.
We forgot taxes. We forgot taxes, so you're not 50% of nothing. Yeah, and the taxes, they getting it first.
So let's equate the money that, let's say a dope dealer, a dope head. Let's just call him a dope head. No offense, nobody do drugs. Dope head. You can be weed. I smoke weed, so I'm a dope head. Okay, let's say a dope head. Let's say I get my check. Let's say I make $1,000 a week, and let's say I want to take $200 of that. And I want to spend it on weed every week. Well, I want to take $100 of that and spend it on weed every week.
Right.
What is that doing to my family versus the person who says I get $1,000 a week and I spend $100 to $200 a week on hope? What is the difference? What is the difference between me taking some of my check and going buy my dope and you taking some of your check and going buy hope that in the afterlife of all the mistakes you made, God will see you different than me and let you into heaven?
Yeah,
streets of gold. I mean, why would you describe it as streets of gold, and why would you make it such a fancy materialistic place? Heaven. When you ask them to describe heaven, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear the angels singing no more and everybody just flying around obeying God. There's streets of gold up there. You be walking on gold.
Right. But then the song is, I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold.
Why you put your money in collection plate?
Yeah, but you're telling me that in the afterlife, it's gonna be gold streets and silver. Like, come on, like,
so
make up your mind.
We've been having church since slavery. We're gonna make it black now. We know everybody go to church, but we're gonna make it black now. We've been going to church since slavery. Are we not still slaves? I mean, when is it gonna break free? We have a religion that says turn the other cheek.
Shit, not only going to church since slavery, we've been going to church because of slavery. Slavery started us going to church. Like our slave masters gave our ancestors the Bible.
I mean, they didn't give them the Bible. They preached to them of it. And they taught a black pastor just a few passages because you weren't allowed to read.
Right, correction. So they didn't give them the Bible.
They didn't give them the Bible.
They taught them from
the Bible and said that this is in here.
This
book is your salvation.
Right.
And if anybody looked different of that, they pulled out that whip and beat this into you.
Right.
So that you begin to idolize that book as if it was something to your life.
Right.
When nobody likes to bring up the fact that, somebody that did everything against what this word is telling you, took you and to capture you into slavery, but then taught you to turn the other cheek and not rise up.
Right.
That doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah, it don't make sense.
No, it makes perfect sense that somebody captured you into slavery and then gave you a religious doctrine saying that you should turn the other cheek to this.
No, it makes sense for the person. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That captures you.
Yeah,
it don't make sense that this many years later we're still indoctrinated by that shit.
By the same, by choice.
By the same shit. By choice. By choice.
Why are we so comfortable?
Which is what a lot of people got mad about Kanye with when he said slavery was a choice. And he was, and when you put it on in context, you understand what he's saying. Like, to be enslaved, to continuously be enslaved,
But not rebel.
is your choice.
You can die at any time
Right.
and let that go,
At
and go to
any
your
given
afterlife.
time.
Isn't
Right.
heaven better than this?
Right.
So when we look at our young brothers and stuff killing each other behind dope, it's like, well, ain't there heaven? I mean, I think that young dope dealing with the church still. I mean, she sleeps around. She still goes to church. This person's kind of, they're part of the community, LGBT community. They still go to church. This person did tax fraud last year. They still go to church. But this young man can't gangbang, go to church, still go to heaven. He's probably the smartest one because at least he's getting it over with. You know what I'm saying? If a gangbang goes to church, if a gangbanger knows God, if a dope dealer knows God, oh my, you'll be in heaven in no time. Ain't that what's best? Because life sucks and ain't nothing we can do about it. I mean, the mentality. I mean, think about it. Suicide mentality. Heaven's better than earth. When you go ask somebody in church, okay, can I kill myself? No, God's gonna send you to hell for that. You got to suffer.
It just don't make sense.
No,
bro.
it do for a slave owner.
Yeah,
If y'all
to
kill
them,
yourself,
always.
it's
When
gonna
I
be
say,
worse than this. If
when
you
I
kill
say it
yourself-
don't make sense, I'm definitely talking from
I want to
the
be the slave
victim's
master.
perspective, yeah.
I want to be false pastor.
Yeah.
I want to be slave master. I want to speak from their point of view. How
Right.
much that makes sense
Right.
to tell somebody that if you kill yourself, you ain't gonna get to go to heaven. If you killed yourself because I'm enslaving you, you have to endure this,
You
or
have to
you're gonna
endure
go to
this,
hell.
right.
And it'll be worse than this. You see this fire? Let me show you what somebody like to get set on fire. And they set a save on fire. Say that'll be you every damn day, every second
for
of
the
the day.
rest of your life.
If you can't take this bullwhip across your back and them cotton buds in your hands.
Right.
And
Right.
people began to believe that, man.
Right.
And they taught that to their children. 80 to 85% of women did. Why? Because what was the man doing slavery? He was getting something from pillar to post. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
So women taught to their children out of survival. And they was supposed to. Why? Because if I teach my child to respect this Bible, the white man will be easy on him. The master will be easy on him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So inherently, she adopted the Bible because that's what we say when I do right by this Bible, when I listen to this Bible. I mean, I still get raped, but
Yeah.
But,
and that's the part that, and that's why.
I mean, think about a black woman.
It's insurmountable of how much the hope dealer and just the whole religious paradigm is detrimental to the community. Like, and that's just real. That's no bullshit, no holds bars, no punch back. Like, the shit is detrimental to us because we got to look at the inception of where it came from. Like, that's literally like me, or I don't want to use me because I would never do that, but like a person having, like, let's just say a bunch of women as sex slaves in this house, right? To where just use them for sex, beat them, do all this different stuff to them, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's doing this from the time they're young all the way up. He's giving them something that's a book or something. He's like, yeah, this is what it is. This is what you need to believe in, yada, yada, yada. So now you get older, you understand everything that you went through, all the drama, all the terror, everything that you went through.
And that's okay.
And it's not that that's okay. You don't like that. You feel like the person was evil for that, but you still took what he taught you and used it on in your life. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, you're supposed to throw everything away. I don't want nothing from this
I gotta
man.
chime in. You can't think he too evil if you adopt his knowledge. You can't think that's evil. You can't. Because think about why a lot of women are so comfortable having sex outside of marriage, but then sex inside the marriage is a big deal. Look at slavery. When a woman was forced to have sex outside of marriage, and if she wanted to have sex after that with her husband, then she could. And her husband would sit there and be like, well, I know you just got, assaulted. I'm not going to expect sex out of you. So we can just lay here and I could just hold you and comfort you and just be by your side because I know you already had to give yourself to another man.
That you didn't want to.
So now we have women today that says, well, I want to go give myself to capitalism because it's not a man no more that I have to respect. It's just a system. And I'm so tired from that. I don't want to come home and be obligated to you. And this is a lifestyle now that was programmed into people through what? Christian indoctrination.
Absolutely.
Because why? Your struggle is what you're entitled to because God is wanting you to go through the struggle. So when he comes in here and he rapes you, guess what? This is okay. But for your man to demand of you, that's not okay because he's married to you. I mean, he don't run you.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And if he knows God, he won't try to run you.
I always say this, and people can take it how they want to take it because if y'all motherfuckers still go to church, you can't even say nothing to me. But at the end of the day, what the white man has done is fucking genius.
Phenomenal. I got Willie Lynch is that's that dude. What's his
Listen,
name? Willie
man.
Lynch and what's his name? The other one. Willie Lynch. They always say Jim Crow.
Jim Crow, right?
Jimmy Crow.
So,
Man.
and the fact of the matter is, they put things in play to keep us separated, divided, and conquered for years to come. And they even installed it in us enough to where it was passed down from generation to generation to where the shit is embedded in us as part of our culture.
Yeah.
Right? So they can literally take which I honestly believe they have done. They can literally take their foot off the gas right now and just cruise. They can put the car on cruise control because everything else is taking care of itself.
What? Oh my God! Think about let's talk about Hope Dealer versus Dope Dealer. How most black men go to jail because somebody in that black community felt like it was better to have him out the community due to the fact that if he's out the community, drugs won't be sold there. Now this theory hasn't worked. In the next, if you give it 40 more years, it'll be 100 years where this theory in the black community hasn't worked. You cannot lock a dope dealer up and it stops dope from coming into that community. Yet we still do it as black people. We still call and we lock our dope dealers up. You feel what I'm saying? Versus when you go look at the Hope Dealer, he's not requiring that, anything of any sort be done to him or to anybody that's a part of his church, right? And when it comes to their sinful nature, God is not going to place a penalty upon you. Come in this church, pay your tithes, be a good person in life. And when you sin, God understand. How is that different from Catholicism?
It's really no difference.
And if you look at the Council of Nicaea, then you understand that when the large landmass of Africa was conquered, I want to say Northern Africa, and I don't know if it was after the Second Punic Wars, or I don't want to get too deep into it and then accept the facts, but I want to say the Italian Greek states above Africa, they had to come up with a way to make sure that all those millions and millions of Africans did not try to revolt. And they knew those people were very spiritual. They knew they believed in things and deities and energies and things that were unorthodox to their knowledge. So what did they do? They mimicked it and mocked it. They took those people and they knew that naturally these people believe in things that we cannot see.
Right.
But we believe in energy. We believe in Bluetooth technology. We believe in magnets attracting where we can't see the attraction. So that's what I did. In my opinion, faith came from teaching people faith. Well, since y'all believe in that, believe in this. And so now you have this council that when people sit down and say, well, let's teach these people the three religions, Muslim, Christianity, and Catholicism. And so, I would have to think about what I'm saying. So Muslim, Christianity, Catholic, I want to make sure I don't want to put Islam into it because I didn't want to involve them. You know what I'm saying? But and they saying we're going to use this religion in order to make these people believe that this is what's best for them. How do you defeat that? Unless you question the religion. How do you free yourself from the slavery?
Right.
It was genius.
Right. No, it was. And that's why I said, sometimes you just got to tip your hat off and give credit where credit due. Like, yeah, to us, on our end, it's fucked up to us. But for them, for the preservation of what they were doing, what they were trying to do as far as staying the superior, and being
New World Order,
shit. They put a plan together that, actually work, and it's still working.
Well, it's dangerous.
We need to wake up,
because what makes it so dangerous is they gotta have the hope dealer aspect, because now that we are waking up to what was done to us, we have the knowledge to do unto others what was done unto us. If we don't get taught to turn the other cheek, if we don't get one thing about implementing bad things on people and being a monster to people is that those people can turn into monsters. Right. Unless you teach them that even though I'm being a monster to you, you can't be a monster to me.
And that's what they've been teaching. That's why they advocated, and pushed Martin Luther King.
Oh, versus Malcolm X.
Yeah, versus Malcolm X. That's why Malcolm X was the rebel. Malcolm X was the terrorist. Yeah. Malcolm X was on an FBI most wanted list. Like, nigga, you talking about fighting us back? Nah, we ain't trying to hear that. We ain't putting that on no pedestal. But this one, he telling all y'all, when we sick the dogs on y'all just gonna turn the other cheek. Y'all gonna run away. Oh yeah, we gonna put his message on the pedestal. But this is what we want y'all to do.
But then both of them get shot.
Absolutely.
By the same government?
Absolutely.
We're going to take a break here.
Yeah, man. So we about to take a quick break. We'll be back. This is my video. It's Lemon Pepper Freestyle. Hope y'all enjoy it.
Enjoy that, man.
Yes, sir. Y'all know I had to jump on it. It's verbals. God and the devil on each show. That's good and evil thoughts. I typically use
both them. Manifesting my destiny, focus on being wholesome. Gun in the holster, watch the way you approach it. License to kill, I murder rappers in two ways. With that 4-4 the flow, y'all drank the Kool-Aid. That's why y'all out here looking sweet like a souffle. Pockets full of blue notes, nip tuck high group cake. You can be rich, but ain't successful till your crew straight. Nah, I don't mean seeing niggas I grew up with through a new lens. Everyone you share the childhood with is not your true friend. You beg to differ, that's cool. I ask you this then. Why 9 out of 10 of them dudes hate to see you win? Why? And 1 out of 10 is truly genuine. Yeah. All my life I defied the odds. Played the hand I was dealt. I ain't hide my card. Never. Hard life growing up, you don't know the pain. The struggle made me numb like Novocaine. Plenty obstacles in my way which I overcame. In order to play the game, you gotta know the game. In order to know the game, you gotta own the game. Gotta read the manual. Sacrificial lambs get appointed. First Samuel, my 16's anointed. I'm anointed. King verbals, flexible with the flow like it's double jointed. Falling on you niggas like double Jordans. On the course, do this for the sport, feeling fabulous. And they don't have a clue what I'm finna do. They don't. Telescopic views from my living room. Swimming in my swimming pool, it's infinity. Feeling like Thanos, all these stones on you, kidding me? Move alone, company's the best friend of misery. A lot of y'all is like whitewash history. Lying y'all, ego. I could read the signs when you're lying like Leo. When you're in the view of that scope of horror, we know 90% chance like Curry shooting the free throw. Do this shit for my people. From Brooklyn to Dallas, a Maverick, who next more than me? Had the heart in my heart and move accordingly. Efficient, shooting my shot like I'm KD. Uncle Luke like Don, chicks still go crazy when you throw that shit on. I got shit on my mind. Doodle Brown, I'm new in town. Doing shows out in Irving like I'm Kyrie. That boy Tim learned the hard way. Junior kindly. Caught him slipping, set him up, don't surprise me. Crooked Jakes is probably my biggest fear. The boys put that DeAndre and got him several years. Cried several tears. Growing up as an adolescent, lessons there was hold your own and be there when the smoke clears. Nigga, who cares? Stay loyal and true to your heart. When my pen touch the paper, it's like doodling art. Paint a portrait, the image of dripping faucet. A calm drip is when you drip but don't force it. Never forfeit, I never lost it. I stay mellow like the rookie on the Hornets. Shit.
Hey, what's going on? We back. That was my video, Lemon Pepper Freestyle. Hope y'all like it. Go check it out. You can go to my website. It's verbals.com, www.verbalz.com. You know, check out that video amongst other videos, singles, music, the album, whatever. Tap in. But getting back to what we was talking about, Hope Dilla versus Dope Dilla. You know, DK made a point when he was talking about just, you know, the inception of Christianity and how it was presented to us through slavery and so on and so forth. And I just wanted to say, like, that pretty much nailed the argument as far as the discussion. What's more detrimental, the Hope Dilla or the Dope Dilla? Because obviously they've been pitching hope to us since we were slaves, way before drugs was even here.
Yeah.
Way before, you know, drugs, you know, flooded our communities and we started selling drugs and all this other stuff.
And the
hope
gun
was
violence.
being, yes, and the gun
we were
violence.
still dying. We were
mass
still
incarceration,
hung.
exactly.
We were still getting shot in the street.
The hope that they were serving us back then was detrimental to us because it kept our ancestors weak. It kept them docile. It kept them submissive. It kept them from rebelling. And that's only some, because obviously we know the story of like Nat Turner. Right?
Boy, yeah, I love it.
Get what I'm saying? And Nat Turner, and that just goes back to show again, like, I didn't learn about Nat Turner until I did my own studies on our history. They ain't teach us that in school.
Yeah.
They taught us about Harriet Tubman.
The woman.
Why? Because if you don't like what we doing,
Leave.
Run away from it.
And we'll come catch you.
But don't revolt.
Yeah.
So we're not teaching you nothing about anybody that stood up against what we was doing, but we're gonna teach you about everyone that told you to turn the other cheek, like Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
or
we learned
run
about
away.
Martin Luther King, but
Right.
we don't never talk about Malcolm X. And as a
Never
child,
talk about Malcolm
You would
X.
ask, why we don't talk about Malcolm X? You always see the white teacher. Well, the school district doesn't think that's, you know, applicable for the curriculum. You're like, why not?
isn't it applicable?
Why not? He meant just as much to us as Malcolm Luther King did.
He meant more to me.
Martin
Yeah,
Luther King.
I
you
get
know
what you're
But
saying.
you know what I'm saying? He meant just as much to us as, you know, Martin did. He's a black man. I mean, he had a wife, a kids, a family. He had a nation, a religion he was a part of. love. He did a lot for the communities. And why we don't know nothing about Malcolm? It's the ideology of not rolling over and taking it up the ass.
So is it fair to say you're 100% right? Is it fair to say that cancel culture
started
existed then?
way back then? Way back. And I believe religion is like a part of cancel culture. Like, we're not gonna ever have y'all running around with the idea now that this ain't what's best for y'all. You know, and then you open up your Bible and read in Deuteronomy, it'll clearly tell you that God himself slunched you into slavery. So they got it in there, but see, only 3% of it is being taught. And once again, during slavery, you didn't read the Bible for yourself. You were preached to from the Bible.
And even coming out of slavery, even when people had physical Bibles and would read the Bible, a large amount of the congregation would only go off of, the scriptures that the Bible, that the pastor taught them or said in church, and then they would go home and read those scriptures again. So like a lot of people don't really go and read the entire Bible and interpret it for themselves.
So do Christian people not want to admit that they idolize their pastor? They believe that pastor to be divine. They believe that pastor to have some type of connection with God.
Absolutely.
That they
can have by themselves, right?
And so they feed into that and they pour into. But ain't that the same thing as the Buddhists and the Hinduism and these people are paying money for a spiritual connection to anything. It might be the flying dragon. I don't give a damn what people worship. Mm-hmm. Ain't it the same thing? You're paying for an idea of an afterlife or spirituality that makes you more comfortable with living to the obligation of this one.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter what religion you practice. That's what religion's about.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. All religions are inclusive in that. Like I'm speaking on Christianity because I don't like to speak on other religions if I don't really know too much about. Like I don't even know if Buddhists pay tithes or like I don't know. So I don't really. But I know what goes on in Christianity. I was raised in church, so I know what goes on in Christianity. That's why I speak to that. But religion as a whole is man-made. So therefore, if religion itself is man-made, then we know religion was designed to divide and conquer people,
and to keep
right?
them
to keep them separated, under control, right? I bring up So I bring up this analogy. It could be let's just say 5-6 men in a room, right? We all got different faiths. So we got a Muslim, a Hindu, a Buddhist, a Christian. We all got different faiths. Islamic, but we're all in this room and we're talking. We're talking about sports. We're talking about finances. We're talking about the community, everything. Everybody, we could be vibing, having a good time. Mm-hmm. The moment you put religion on the table, it's gonna be chaos in that room.
They're gonna separate. No, this is what really happened. No, it happened back then.
And that's the divide.
None of us did, and that's what we was taught.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we gonna stand, well, Jesus was really born in April. No, he really wasn't born in Christmas. And now you got two Christians in that fight over the same Christian idea.
Divide and conquer.
Because it's all divided, man. You know what I'm saying? And like,
absolutely.
I just want to say, speaking on, just the Christian movement, man, let's talk about the Christian cash, man. Let's just get back to that Christian cash, because that's the number one thing, we're going to talk about dope dealing. Mm-hmm. We really want to say the dope dealer brings the violence. The dope dealer brings the zombie-like effect on the people to where they can't, rise and be productive. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about the cash. A lot of people really don't get mad at the dope dealer for that, because that's how people are anyway in their community. They really get mad at the dope dealer for the amount of cash he has access to. But what about, and we know what dope dealers do with their cash. They buy rims, they buy Rolexes, they buy diamond chains, they go to strip clubs, they make rap videos, okay? What is Pastor doing with his paper?
Right.
If Pastor done brought in $6.5 million this year, it only costed him $3 million to build his mega church, what is Pastor doing with the rest of his paper? If you got 50,000 members in the church, in a mega church,
right,
it's seating 50,000 people. This is an arena. And all of y'all are just putting $10 in a month. If it's 50,000, y'all, that's $500,000 a year. That's $6 million a year. That's how that works.
And that's on the low end.
That's $10
$10 per person.
That ain't nobody ties, bro.
And that's still a lot of money. And that's on the low end. So imagine a congregation of what you said, 20,000 people, 50,000 people. A congregation of 20,000 people, all working class and entrepreneurs. So that means you're gonna have salary ranges from anywhere to about let's say 30 to 40 grand to about 150 to 200,000 a year.
Being modest.
Right? Being modest. So now if we want to I said 30 to 40 to like 200,000 a year. So let's just jump to let's say the average is 50,000 member, everybody making about 60 grand a year. Let's put it right in the middle. Everybody making 60 grand a year, which means that each one of those members are giving you $6,000 a year. A year. Just for taxes. That's not. I mean, just for tithes. You might as well call it a tax.
Yeah.
But just for tithes, no offering, no nothing. This is just tithes. That means $6,000 times what we said 50,000
50,000
members.
people, yeah.
Ain't that about $3 million?
Probably 30 million. Shit, something crazy.
Right?
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
I'm
You
doing
talking
it. I'm trying to
you talking
do it
about
real quick
50?
off my man.
You
I mean,
talking
off my
about-
head. I ain't
You talking about
use no calculator.
50,000 people times
Times $6,000.
Oh my gosh, bro. I'm talking about, hold on now.
It's either 3 million or 30 million.
Oh man, I got 300 million.
Oh my goodness.
See, you can't imagine the
yeah,
amount of
I'm
money
like, yeah,
these
about that.
pastors are making. And now, if you do, I got to do it again, man, because ain't no way 6,000 times 50,000 people. Yeah, they're doing 300 million a year. So if you just count that, so let's just be realistic, man. Let's say a church got 10,000 people, and let's say okay, they doing what you say what they paying a year? 6,000.
6,000 a year.
Hey, and also too,
That's 60 million a year.
you got to
That's
think
10,000.
about it like this: the church only asks for like 8% of your income.
Like 10%.
Okay, 10% of the tithes. Imagine the people who think that they have to do more than that because
Right.
they have to pay forward to the
So we talk
community.
about it straight time. And Pastor always say that's what you're paying to be here now. You know, God really look at what you do beyond this. You know, this the requirement. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna pass
But if
you
you,
pay
but if
around
you
again.
get 15 to 20, you know, you might
So,
get.
so let's say, okay, if I can get 10 custos and sell them 10 grams of weed a day at $10 a pop, I can make $1,000 a day. But if I get 10,000 members and don't need no weed,
Right.
and I can get them to come to church once a week,
Right.
I can make $60 million a year.
And it's tax write-off.
Tax write, and this is another reason. It's definitely a tax write-off.
It's a tax
But
write-off.
this is another reason why it's more detrimental to the community, because that money that they're making, that 300 million, you know where that 300 million goes? Into the bank. You
it
know
just
what
sits
the
there.
white people do with that money?
They
What
take
the, what the bank do
fractional-
with that money?
fractional reserve
Give-
banking.
Exactly, and give loans to other people that's not our skin complexion,
Or not
right?
of that
we
religion.
do get
Or not of that
or
religion.
not of that religion. And those people come back in that community where that church is at
And
and
buy
buy
it.
up the buildings and stuff and the properties around it. So now you're not only taking from the people that's in the community,
You're just able to
but
get them to
now
compete.
you're enabling other people to get loans from this 300 million worth of church money to get a loan and come into the same neighborhood that church is in
And own these
buy
people.
up the community.
And be master to these people.
Right.
And own their drug stores.
So the
and
dope dealer is not funding, taking all his money, putting it in the banks. The bank's not taking the dope dealer money and giving it to white people in Kansas
Nah,
to
he-
come move down
the
here. and
dope
take
dealer
over-
buying turkeys.
You get what I'm saying?
The dope dealer buying bikes and school clothes. You know what I'm saying? He feel bad for doing what everybody else doing in society, what Coca-Cola does in
Right.
society. How many children have bad teeth? How many times we heard that Coca-Cola had real Coke in there and it was
Absolutely.
government approved?
Absolutely.
How many times we heard Bear Aspirin really have what, heroin and Bear Aspirin?
Absolutely.
I mean, how many times we heard that our government is, even to this day with the opioid crisis,
They the biggest dope dealers.
they're the biggest dope dealers in the world. And if you have a man who can get a small grain of salt of that on a beach full of dope dealers in this world that are government officials, let's lock him. Let his own people need to lock him up.
Right.
Biden can give out a crack pipe, but let that be a brother giving out crack. I don't want y'all doing bad. No, take some needles now. I'm gonna do right by y'all. Yeah, he would have went to jail for that, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But Joe Biden come to the community and say, you know what? Don't worry about Hunter Biden's laptop. He goes to crack pipe. And we
Yeah.
just go, man, I knew I should have voted for Joe. Look how he keep us clean.
Yeah.
Look how he keep us clean.
I want y'all to get high and forget about my son.
And Kamala just standing right behind him laughing. Just, hey, fam, that's what's wrong with America right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It ain't the dope dealer. Because the
Shit.
hope dealer with them.
Shit, they hope dealers themselves.
Oh.
They hope dealers themselves.
So
How
are
you think they get it?
politics and
Politics
pastors-
are hope dealers. Yes. There's no separation of church and state.
Oh.
This shit is
Besides sin, because at the end of the day, the only separation between church and state is if you can get somebody to say that this was done in a religious ceremony, then they have no penalty to the state.
Right.
So the separation of church and state is the idea that if a child is raped or put into a situation where they can free will have sex, but they're underage. If it's religion, then the state cannot come in and put law to this. Man, that pastor balling, man. Goddamn.
Big time, bro.
Hey, bro. So you mean to tell me you want to sleep with a little girl? All he got to do is set up all he got to do is set up his whatever religious sect he want to set it up, and they said this is a part of the religion. This is a religious practice. You know, little girls around here that they have sex at 13, 14 with me. This is what we do.
Right.
We out here in the boondocks. You know, we out here in the middle of nowhere. This is what we doing. And if he can get that signed up by the state,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing they do about it.
he has no
Because
penalty.
he's still getting all his tithes and offerings, and he putting it into the bank. So their
Together.
interaction is still flowing.
So
like it's
that-
not stopping their money. So they're like, hey.
So
do
let's
you
say
wanna
what the dope dealer can do. The dope dealer can get all the money and start feeling like he king around the hood. Hey, man, I want a school over here. Man, I want these roads built. Man, you know what? I'm done selling dope, man. I want these crackheads off the street. Nah, we gotta lock him up.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand. Yeah, you start off dirty as a dope dealer, but you end up a man with some power.
Yeah.
You end up signing some bills. You end up paying police payrolls. You end up running that community.
You end up hiring people that look like you. You employing them because they couldn't find
Opening
jobs.
up businesses
Right.
in your community. Whoa, let's
Yeah.
talk about let's stop gaslighting. Let's talk about the things that if a dope dealer does take that money and he goes back to the other side, how many people can he hire? How many families can he save?
Right.
Let's talk about the money. Okay, the average cost of a home in America is $375,000 a year. So that means on average, a church, after it pays for itself twice in the same year, could afford 17 homes a year to give out to the ministry to escape those people from poverty.
Right.
Now, you have a right to ask those people from out their collection plate why, for them to go do the 17 houses again and to grow to say, okay, well, everybody in our church community, they own their own house paid for by the church.
Right.
The average car in America costs $47,000 a year. So how many people in the church house can say, you know what, we come to the church, we put our money in, and in the course of 5 years, the church said, we got you. You end up with a good home, you end up with a car, all out of putting your money, this is an investment. No, just
Man.
put your money here and walk out.
Let me ask a question. When we give money to Uncle Sam, right, in taxes, right, even though we know it's unconstitutional, at the end of every year, we do got a chance to get our taxes back, right? Tax return, right?
You get your money back.
Get your money back, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what about all the members that pay tithes? Do they get returns on their money? Do they get taxed?
They feel like they do. Sin. They can go sin and God gonna forgive them. That's their return. That's their return. They go
Yeah.
sin. You can go sin and God gonna forgive. Because you know
Yeah.
damn well you ain't getting that out of the collection plate.
Y'all stay with that hope dealer.
You feel what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong, man. Jimmy cracked corn, but hey, man, this man over here cracking Jesus.
Yeah.
And I can't get with the fact that once again,
And cracking your safe.
yeah. I mean, where is the production of Christianity in the black community? I mean, let's take it to the black community. I
Yeah.
mean, what is it? What has
Yeah.
it done for us since slavery?
It hasn't done anything. There's no. I like someone out. Please enlighten me. Enlighten me, viewers. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think. What has Christianity done positively in the black community? We would love to know.
With all the money.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean, you got
that's what
all
we're
that
talking about here.
money.
We're talking about the money. What is
No,
the
we're
church
talking
doing
about
with the money?
period because the man they follow named Jesus Christ, he traveled, like they say in the day, we got to get this money to travel. We got to go spread God's word. Jesus did that on foot. Had a fish fry and all his followers with him. What I need to be putting my funds in this plate for? And the man y'all say y'all did this behind, y'all can't be following his plan because he said he ain't need no money to do this. And look like they got a map in the back of your Bible. My old grandma and them used to have them old big old Bibles. You turn the back of Bible
yeah,
and show you
map in
everywhere
the back.
Jesus traveled. Jesus was walking motherfucker. Jesus walked everywhere. That nigga wasn't lazy.
He walked on
He didn't
water.
need no plane. He walked on water. He crossed.
He walked everywhere.
So what he need a plane for? What you need this bus for?
A private jet.
A private
Like what
jet.
you need a private jet for? What you need a mansion for?
I should-
like what you need these certain things. And then let's go back to, and this is how you know they're not doing anything in community. Let's bring Joe Osteen to the front of the
Ooh,
congregation,
man.
and let's talk about how
Hurricane Harvesting.
exactly he didn't even want to open up his mega church to the victims of of that hurricane. But it's like, damn, like
I ain't gonna let
you don't
them-
think they was paying tithes? You don't
They
think
not-
none of those?
Man, they're not finna come to my dope house and I won't be able to sell dope when all this clear.
There you go.
Oh, my bad. I say dope. I mean hope.
hope.
My bad.
There you
I
go.
thought I'm bad. I'm sorry. Selling the
There you
people
go.
something that ain't good for them.
There you go.
That is of no substance.
Right.
So now I can't come in there and be responsible for the damages because I'm already losing revenue and I have a track. I have a plan.
Right.
You know, Joel Osteen talks like this, and he has a very, very soundful voice that makes you think that God is right around the corner. But he wasn't there when Hurricane Harvey was right around the corner.
No.
He wasn't there.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely
No,
wasn't.
no. Them people was outside the church banging. And there's people inside the church looking at them and wouldn't open the church doors while the wind was blowing people off their feet. And so in your hard time, and guess what them people went did? He opened back up them churches. They flooded that church again.
Right.
And they said it was not his responsibility of his spiritual leader to be saving people during Hurricane Harvey.
Right.
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. And I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna put it out there. We're not advocating for dope dealers.
No.
We're not saying that dope dealers are fucking angels and great and beneficial to society in every form
let
of
me say
fashion.
this.
But
Go ahead. I ain't gonna
But
cut y'all. Go ahead.
what we are saying is that hope dealers have done and are doing more damage in primarily black communities than dope dealers. I'm saying that.
I'm gonna say this, man. In the black community, religion has become an obligation. It's hard to please your wife without religion. It's hard to get the respect of saying you raise your children right as a father without having a religion doctrine and based into your mind. It's hard to be a productive citizen without people saying that you're attached to some type of religion, because they come together and they go do all the production in society. It was why they do that. They go to church, they come together and let's go buy this building. Yes, y'all can stop people that's not a part of your church being able to go buy that building. That's why we buying a new building in the church. Yeah, we buying up the community. Yeah, so that nobody being in the community can do nothing without y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's a monopoly. But, you know, at the end of the day, man, I just want to be able to say that dope dealer's a choice, man.
Right.
I always looked at the dope dealer like I looked at the neighborhood prostitute. Now, when the man gets caught for sleeping with the prostitute, does he get to say, baby, go lock that prostitute up and I won't cheat no more? The only reason why I was able to sleep around was because she was offering it. And if she wouldn't have been offering it, I wouldn't be able to do it, baby. And just like y'all say about Jimmy down the street with the crack. Lock him up too. That's why I went and did crack and I slept with the woman. No, she gonna go leave him behind that woman, but she gonna call the police on Jimmy. When Jimmy start messing up her household, guess what she gonna do? She gonna call the police on him and she gonna say that's gonna solve my problem. But she's not gonna go whoop that woman that keeps sleeping with your husband.
Yeah.
So how is it not the same thing? Man, if it's a cause and effect, then because this pastor been here making all this money, and we can't even drive down the road without bending up a 22-inch rim. You can't even put rims on the hood that's right down the street from these mega churches. You can't even ride rims.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if we can sit up there, have that mega church be there, not be productive, man, why are we attacking the young man that say, you know what, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I don't want a lab coat. I don't want to go work for GNC or Walgreens or whoever sell drugs.
Right.
I'd rather just go do it myself.
take my penitentiary chances.
And I'm not saying that the government doesn't have a right to come weigh on him. I'm saying us as a society, how y'all let pastors? Y'all been letting pastors them.
Yeah. Why you judging? Why you picking and choosing?
Why you
who
pick who you judging, bro? You know what I'm saying? Nah, because that ain't the type of man we want in our neighborhood.
Right. And shit, hold up, pause, rewind. You're a Christian. You're not supposed to be judging anybody anyway.
So it's calling the police. It's calling the police on somebody, judging them for selling dope.
Yes, it is. And you're not supposed to be judging
But
nobody.
hold on, when they get out my community gonna be better. I'm doing this. This is a good thing. It ain't gonna be no more drugs around once I lock DK and Verbs up. If they right here dope peddling, and if we call the police on them, drugs gone.
All right, so what's gonna happen is if all the drugs in the community is gone, then now those reformed dope heads is gonna find their way to the church, giving that same money they was giving to the dope dealer to the hope dealer now.
Ooh, so you saying that the characteristic of a person that's a dope dealer really just a more moral person than a false prophet? Because if you take that dope away and they see the only way that they can really go out there and make that money now is by being a false prophet, now you ain't gonna have a real church that exists. And you got churches everywhere. You got church. I mean, right, go look at these cities of Atlanta, Dallas, LA.
And that's the other foot of what I was saying. Yeah, the dope dealer can turn into the hope dealer because come on from jail, like, I can't take those chances no more, but I know if I go in here and speak this,
and
what's gonna happen.
And I've been
right?
reading this Bible for like, so once
Right.
I start telling people what's in this Bible and they ain't never read that before, now they understand how to read the Bible. All I gotta do is make these people believe what? God has elevated me somehow.
Right.
Somehow I'm above.
I changed
them.
my life. I went to jail. I got introduced to God.
But what's
I
the
read Bible,
elevation?
got to the elevation.
It's the money
Right.
that you gave him. You elevated him, ass.
Right.
He wouldn't be above you. He would have to really show up and show out if you didn't put that money in collection plate over the course of 5 years. Pastor, look at me. I did 50 years in jail. But you've been collecting these people money the last 5 years. So yeah, 70, you come up here and say that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took these people money to build up the image that they want to respect and see to keep giving you money, fam.
Right.
If y'all was to ever stop taking them past the money and have to really see God come in and perform miracles, you wouldn't see that. It don't be miracles, it be money doing that.
Yeah.
Their house burnt down. You know, God is real. We went and built another one. You've been taking people money to. It's one house. You've been taking out of 50 houses.
It costs you pennies to build that shit, and it's another tax write-off because you just did something for a member in your church.
It's a business.
You're getting that right back.
It's a business.
Yes, tax write-off.
It
So
is
it's
a
really
business.
not even hurting your bottom line.
Which is what, getting rich.
That's what it's all about.
So when we say that it's
So
detrimental
basic-
to the hood, it's because of the money they're taking out of the community
Absolutely.
that can be used outside
To build
of
the community.
Yeah, and when they really letting the tax cuts be the reason. The fact they're leaving the money in that bank under the religious sector, and the bank can take that money and go make money off the money of the people, and they come back and own the people.
Right.
How is the church not the reason why we're not continuing to go in this
In
circle?
this circle, it absolutely is the
How?
reason.
How you cannot see that you're blindly, you're the reason why that Arab man, the Arab man said, I've done nothing. Don't come in my store and wreck my store. He didn't do nothing. He came here, got along. White folk gave it to him because you took your black ass to church and bought hope.
Right.
That's why you don't own the store. Why they give them the loans? Because they stole the money from you, stupid. They can't loan you the money they stole from you, you ass. Like, why the fuck would they give
Well,
you
they
a loan?
can, but they don't want to.
No,
Because it's not about
Verbs,
helping you.
Verbs, let me try to come up real quick. Now, if I take money from you, this is how the rich get rich. They take debt and they buy assets with it.
Right.
So if I take money from you, which is debt, and I give it back to you, how the fuck do I get rich along the way? No, I have to take debt from you and turn somebody into an asset. What? Would I turn them into a person that owes me money at a % increase?
Right.
So over time, if this person owes me money and they're not from that neighborhood and they're not selling to their own people and that's not their own money that built that store, they're gonna pay me for that money.
Right.
Cause I'm the conduit of funds. I'm
Right.
I'm the person that made sure they got the money. Versus your black ass. No, that's your community. Yeah, that's your money, and that's gonna be you selling to your own people. Why would you pay a percentage of interest on that?
But they're going to have to.
No,
They will
you're not
have-
allowed to. We're not
Right.
gonna allow because all y'all want to do is boycott, and all y'all want to do is fucking sit at table counters and shit, and drink out of water fountains and say whites owners and shit. So why we give y'all own money to handle? We can take it from you religiously and then throw it in your face in reality, and your ass won't even see it.
Not only take it from you religiously, take it from you religiously, and then we know what these banks do. They invest that money. So that $300 million is not just sitting there and they
So you
giving it
feeding
out
your
their
dragon.
loans. They throwing that in the stock market. They making 60 times the amount of money they made, and they
For
still
free.
taking loans.
And then
getting
you
right.
taking the remainder of your money and throwing it back in the bank too.
right. Right.
So that's how we're financial slaves. Are we really slaves to dope? No, we want to blame something.
Right.
I feel like we want to have something to be able to take it out on. We want to be able to whoop somebody for something that we could, and we want to see the whooping.
And I'm glad you said that, because this goes back to our topic for next week, and we're gonna give it to you now. Is education versus financial literacy.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because
Yes, sir.
if you had the financial literacy,
Would I ever sell drugs?
and not only that, even if you did, you'll be smarter with your money. It won't be buying rims and jewelry and all this stuff. If you had the financial literacy, once you made your first 100K, you would have put 30, 40
But
in
what's
the stock
going on with
market,
these
this here,
successful
that
dope,
there.
but what's going on with these successful dope dealers verbs, and this is why it's so dangerous to the government and to the pastors of a dope dealer successful, is they inevitably learn financial literacy. Because
Somewhere
they
down the
make
line,
that-
right.
Somewhere down the line. That's why you got to grab them, stop them, because when they learn their financial literacy, now they can build themselves up.
And
Now
take it
they're-
to the next level.
And now there's something to look at besides the pastor and besides the government for hope. You can just go ask the dope dealer for it. See, the first dope dealer was Jesus. This is what's crazy, because Jesus' offense was healing people for free. His offense was feeding people for free. His offense to the church and to the government back then, the Pharisees back then, was he was an option outside of them.
Because he was doing stuff for free. And we charging for that, bro. You can't be doing that over here. You can't be telling people you perform miracles and you not charging them.
So they don't have no need for government. They have no need to be structured by us for our benefit. And they have no need to be led astray when they can come to you, and they don't have to say that they can go to heaven and their arm will be fixed in heaven. Jesus is healing the arm on earth.
Which goes back to
So why would they pay for the arm to be fixed
Facts.
next week? Which
Facts.
is the doctor mentality. Our pastors have developed a doctor mentality. I'm not gonna fix them. I'm not gonna tell a young lady that she having sex outside of marriage is the reason why no man wants her. I'm gonna tell her no man can judge her. Nobody can judge you. And if a man, judge that man if he tries to judge you, but he can't judge you. And when she goes out there and can't find a man, I know she'll be in here next week.
Right.
Just like I know if you sick, I can give you something to give you more symptoms. That way, if you don't get sick off this, you won't be healed from that.
Right.
You'll be back in here next.
Or to just suppress the symptoms a little bit, just enough for you to need it in about another week or so. Because we know who the biggest dope dealers of all time is, and that's Big Pharma.
Big Pharma.
Right? They don't make medicines to cure you. They make medicine to keep your symptoms a little suppressed so that you continuously
Buy
need
that
these
medicine to
medicines.
keep them
You got to
suppressed, but you never get
continuously
healed.
buy this medicine.
So that's what we're going through spiritually. So we
Right.
want to talk about the dope dealer. Okay, a dope dealer can be synonymous with a doctor. We know he's doing that.
Right.
But it's the hope dealer doing that. Are you just giving people medicine that keep them suppressed in a situation where they're
Absolutely.
oppressed?
Absolutely.
And they're never going to heal from this.
Right.
bruh.
Right.
While paying you money for this.
Right.
And is that more detrimental than a person being able to clearly see that dope dealer ain't no good for me? That crack ain't no good for me. See, you don't have faith that the crack gonna come and be all right later on in life. I just seen crackheads be the best mechanic. They say it's because I'm on this crack. You ain't got enough faith to go down that line. You know what I'm saying? How many crackheads we done seen get up under your car? Oh, boy, all you need is a goddamn tune-up, boy. Him there right there, boy. Ain't goddamn, I'm talking about gonna suck on all them gums and fix that goddamn rotator, whatever's underneath your goddamn car. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, brake drum, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I done seen a lot of people that say, a lot of college professors, that one black college professor come out a couple years ago and say, no, I do heroin. That's how I see everything. That's how I believe everything. And you wouldn't have one person in the community, in the Christian community, come out and say, I'm just gonna have faith and try that shit. Even though I see that shit ain't working. That motherfucker show is smart now. You know what I'm saying? That motherfucker show can think now. That motherfucker show can fix a car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, I need to fix my car. Would you have faith enough to try some crack and say, nah, let me try the engine? You ain't never did crack in your life. Your car break down. You can't afford to fix your car. Would you go say, instead of paying $1,000 to fix this car, I'm gonna pay $10 for this crack rock, and I'd be like that crackhead. I got faith. I can't see how this shit gonna add up.
Yeah, they ain't doing that.
But you'll go down to a church house and say, I don't see how me giving this money to my pastor, or all of us giving all our money to this pastor, is gonna help me out as an individual, especially if God gotta come and help them and help them and help them, and then they got this going on over all the work. So God gotta come down here and buy everybody a house.
Right.
God gotta come over here and make everybody rich. Or we gotta accept the fact that God ain't got this for us. Why he got that for you?
But
They said there's always gonna be confusion in that.
Right, but yet and still, there's people that's in your neighborhood, in your circle, that's around you that don't go to church, that don't pay tithes and offering.
Flourishing.
And they're thriving and they're
Thriving
flourishing
and
in
flourishing.
life. But yet and still, you praying that, yo, if I drop this last 100 in this bucket, oh man, I just hope it's gonna come back tenfold.
So-
Pastor says it's gonna come back tenfold.
So now you understand why pastors tell people if they don't believe in God, you might need to stay away from him. if your friend balling and he don't believe in God, you
Stay
might
away
stay
from
away
him.
from
Right.
Because he don't believe in what you believe. It becomes
We
a
don't.
cult.
We don't need them to show you that you can get everything that I'm telling you is gonna come now by doing. They
By
don't
doing
want that.
anything. Oh, no.
We need
so
you
So
conditioned.
Christian people have a very separative and they have a very defensive stand. Like when you come to them and tell them, well, explain to me how you can do everything you do but still receive salvation. And they explain, well, I don't have to explain it to you. Well, you have a word. You telling me to come adopt this word and to keep this word. I mean, explain to me the times that you didn't or you don't or that you
Right.
can't.
You
know,
can't
what
question. You can't question God.
I'm questioning
can't
your
question
ass. Man. I ain't questioning God. I'm questioning you, nigga. Why could you? Because that money you putting in church. I go to church. Well, what does that mean? I believe in God. I don't go to church. Well, that you don't really believe in God. Who told you that?
Right.
I can't believe in him for myself. You don't know. I can't know the Bible for myself. They don't want to admit that.
No.
They don't want to admit that. Hold on. They don't want to admit that. Hold on. Because I'm not paying money to a Christian community, I can't go give it to a hobo. I just came up here with this Dallas on air. I seen 3 hobos. I gave them all $3 a piece. It's $9. That don't count.
Yeah. Right.
And I made $90 today. That's $10 tithe and offering. That don't count. I gotta come put it in here. No, I'll be known as an individual for doing that.
Right.
The church gets props, and I get no props as the individual. Now you see
If I'm
why
paying my
men
tithe,
don't
right.
go to church. You're not really a man in church. You're just a man in church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You're not really a
Right.
man when you're in the church. The church gets all your manly credit.
Right.
God and the pastor getting all your manly credit.
Right.
Not really a leader, none of that. You're a follower.
Right.
But if I was to take that efforts outside of church and go outside and put those efforts into life, man, how much would I look like a man? If I would say, no, I'm gonna take 10% of my money this year, I make $100,000 this year. I'm gonna take 10% of my year, 10% of my money this year. I'm gonna go out
give
to
it
the
to the
community.
homeless people.
I'm gonna go give it to homeless people. Man, you end up on the news, but then they'll say, look at him trying to think he all that.
You ask me, that's 100 times better than giving 10% to the church.
We actually probably get something done to the
You
community.
ask me, God looking at that better, that person better than he like this motherfucker could not even believe in God. And if he's doing that, if there's a God up there, he's gonna look at that person
I'ma take it a step further.
more successful or he's gonna look at that person in a greater perspective than he would the people that's just going to church giving their 10% to the
I'm gonna
church.
take it in a way better perspective. Now, if I sit up there and have 5 hobos and I give them all money and I say, look, man, I'm trying to give back, trying to be a good person. Y'all give back in the world, trying to be this, and I post that. People say, why you gotta post that, bro? Because it's the individualism of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if a church was to go out there and say, we as a church, we
raised
5
such-
people,
yeah.
we raised such like hard for the same production, for the
Right.
same end
Same
produce,
production.
for the same thing.
Right.
No, it's the shot. People don't want the fact that people don't want people to be individuals no more, and it offends
Yeah.
people. And I feel like the biggest thing about Christianity, bro, is that they don't like the individuals, and that's why
No.
anybody who's not an individual, they want to come to Christianity, and they come together to shoot down individuals.
Individualism has always been frowned upon,
And
even in the
Christianity.
education system, like
Yeah.
in school. They
Nah, you don't want to be
Yeah.
an individual.
It's not about being an
Clown,
individual.
yeah, all that.
Yeah.
Sit down and be a robot like everybody else. You stand out, you're out of place.
Right.
You feel
Right.
what I'm saying? So I mean, Like I say, it's great churches out there, man. It's churches that go out there, they honest with their money, you know what I'm saying? They're not out there trying to have no mega church mentality. They preach it from the heart. That's what they really believe in. The pastor died behind Christ today. Man, look, it don't matter what I believe in. If you really believe in God, bro, and you sold out to that, and that's what your people believe in, man, I have all the utmost respect for every dollar, every hour y'all in church, everything y'all got going on, man. But if I look up, bro, and as soon as I pull up to the church parking lot, it look like the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Can I ever meet the pastor? Or the pastor's a celebrity. The pastor got a meeting with Tyler Perry next week. I don't know this nigga. So how can I ever sit up there and trust this nigga myself? I can't meet this man, shake this man head, smell this man stinking breath.
And that's the thing about mega churches.
You can't even
get that close to your leader. Right?
Now, one thing about Jesus, they had stories about Jesus where a woman just had to reach out and touch
his cloth.
You can't touch these pastors to even see if they real. You don't know nothing about that lifestyle. You don't know nothing about that guy. You don't know these people. You know them as your pastor.
That's it.
You know them on Sunday morning, maybe Wednesday night.
Right.
You don't know them people 5 days, 6 days, 4 days out the week. Nobody goes to church more than 4 days out the week unless you working for the church, and that's because you bringing monetary gain. So let's talk about people working in the church and getting a check from that.
Right.
Golly.
Right. And then still paying tithes. So
off the check. So
the church is getting the tithes back from that, and it's a tax write-off because you're an employee.
So if your son, I got a son. If my son would say, "Daddy, I'm finna go sell dope," no, son, don't do that. I'm gonna teach you how to sell hope. That's way better. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Hey, listen.
Hey.
I guess so. At least you ain't got to worry about your son getting locked up doing 20, 25 years in jail. Right?
Selling that religion, son. That's what you sell them.
Yeah, because there's no penalty behind it. So, again, it's been another great episode.
Again, man.
You know what I mean? I'm your host, Rich.
I'm your host, DK.
And this is Two Peas in the Pie.
Kaz.
And we out.
Peace, man.